Welcome to the Explode Street Podcast with Jerry Binney. On today's episode, I'm going to go over some questions that I've received through email and try to answer these questions that have to do with the Jump Book. And speaking of the Jump Book, it's out. And thank you to all the people who have purchased it. I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do an ebook. I'm just going to do hard paperback, basically just paperback books only. They're small, but the information in those books will tell you exactly how I came up with how to dumbbell jump, what weight to choose while dumbbell jumping, and how to pick different weights as you're trying to progress forward. Just talk about the story of how I used to try different jump methods, try to do this, try to do that, and I'd go back to these books and try to figure it all out. And so the book basically tells you how I came up with it and why it's important. And so thank you for all the people that have purchased it. I think what I'm going to do as far as the book goes is I only have a certain number that I printed out and can ship out. And once those are gone, they're gone. Unless I do an annual release of the book again. But I don't plan on having the book readily available all the time on the website. So for those of you who have purchased it, congratulations. I want to try to keep the crowd low. The people who have purchased the book can also feel free to email me, text, call, discuss, whatever. I had someone the other day call me from Washington and just had some questions. And the weights and stuff in the book have to do with the box squat stuff. So hopefully, if you have any questions, I've had tremendous feedback from it. I've had people reach out, Jared, it's going to make me change my whole programming. Hey, Jared, I can't believe the knowledge in this thing. Even Michael Fahey, Westside Film, said he's going to change his stuff. So thanks, Michael. It's small, but I'm telling you exactly what to do and how to get the results that I get. Sometimes you can buy books for 50, 60, whatever amount of money, and you read it and you still come away with not knowing how to program. I'm actually telling you how to program, how to choose the weights, and how to get your verticals up. So it's intended for coaches and gym owners that have the equipment needed. You know, that's why you got to have a higher price tag on stuff. I'm telling you what I've spent most of my career, if not all of my career, trying to figure out. Plus, you got to have the mats and the dumbbells to do what I need to do, maybe even a Tendo unit for the squatting. So book sales almost gone. Those of you who purchased it, thanks for the support. I appreciate you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So let's get on with, speaking, I've had people wanting, although they've still purchased the book, online training. I will open up the online training as soon as I figure out how I want to do it. I do know it's going to be a limited number of people. I'm thinking 10. And this is worldwide. The book went to Australia, Northern Ireland, Scotland, United Kingdom, Germany. So those books, not only just local here in the US, I think the state of Texas purchased the most books. Canada, Pennsylvania, a lot in Pennsylvania, California, Texas, I think. I don't have the list in front of me. That's still at the gym because I do all my shipping and printing stuff at the gym. So I did make a spreadsheet of where the books are going. Several in New Jersey, New York, Florida. It's kind of crazy. So people have the book, and I had someone call me before I came up here to do the podcast. Hey, Jared, I still want you to train my son. Okay, well, I'll do online training, but my time's limited. When I'm at the gym, I don't have a team of people with me. It's me and a bunch of kids, and I've got to try to figure out how to address their needs. Like I told someone the other day, the gym's chaotic. And for those of you who listen on the podcast, and for those of you that listen to podcasts and have kids that come to the gym, you know it's chaotic. I get kids everywhere. I've got kids. A lot of times trainers and coaches will try to make it easier on themselves, having more organized training, but sometimes I can hold the results back of the kids. Being that I test my athletes every month, I'm trying to make sure that every one of them get better. So you may have some kid regular squatting, you may have some kid pause squatting, you may have some kid safety bar box squatting, you may have another person box squatting with a normal straight bar, you may have someone doing front squats. And you may have someone benching on Sunday, someone squatting. So then you never know what you're going to get, and it's kind of crazy, but someone the other day described it as a beautiful mess. Yeah, it kind of makes me run around and almost like have super ADHD because I try to address these kids, whoever asks first in this question. So that, Jared, you got ADD, you can't. I said, look, I've got to answer this kid. I got to get this, this, and this. So it's basically like a checklist or next in line in my head when it's running. And so when I'm outside the gym, I try to prepare for the gym, and I got errands. I still got to live a life. I got to get done. I got stuff to do. So I think I'm gonna limit my online training to like 10 people. And you'll have direct access to me. I want to send videos. I want to see what's going on, how you're doing it. And for a lot of people with send me these box squat videos, sometimes their stuff, they're not being as explosive off the box as we are at the gym. They're not attacking or as aggressive from what I can tell. So I'm working on some YouTube videos for that, so I can try to demonstrate how we do it and what it looks like, so that people can get a feel of what's going on, so that when I coach someone, they're paying for my online training, I want them to get the same results that my athletes get at the gym. So anyway, let's get on with these questions. Hey Jared, I just purchased a jump mat. I know y'all use them extensively and including, y'all use it extensively and the included instructions were brief. Yeah, it does not really come with much instructions. Do y'all jump from the smooth side or the conjugated side or corrugated side? I also noticed that your athletes on YouTube videos jump in socks. Do you recommend socks or tennis shoes when jumping on the mat? I like to use the rough side of the mat. I have used the smooth side of it before, but that's where if I have to go somewhere, like if I'm going to test kids for like a recreation center or something like that, I put my logo on the bottom of it and I flip it over so that everybody can see what kind of mat they're jumping on. It's just expose mechanics or who's there actually doing the testing. But at the gym, I like the rough side up. And I've had people from other gyms, Jared, they're wearing out their jump mats. If you have the smooth side up on the jump mat, it tends to bend and fold up almost like a cup. And so with the athletes dropping weights on it and hitting it and all that stuff, it's not designed to be on the smooth side. The smooth side is designed to be on the ground. That's why you see most of the YouTube videos and sometimes the videos on Instagram that we put a yoga mat on top of it, so when they land, it don't kill or hurt their feet as bad. So with the as far as the shoes, I've always personally, I like my shoes better. I do not like jumping barefooted. My kids at the gym jump in their socks. And so I don't really care. I just care that they're consistent. I try to get some kids to jump with shoes and jump with socks to see if much difference. And there's not a whole lot of difference. I think it's just more of a feeling based thing on how they feel, what they feel. So the mats are designed, I've had my mats 13 years and never had to replace a single mat. Now, people have asked me, Jared, how long have your jump mats lasted? Well, 12, 13 years. I've had to replace mine once a year. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Our mats were also not on turf. They're on, we have rubber flooring, so our mats are on rubber flooring to where, like if you jump on turf and it's got a little squishier surface up under the mat, that can cause some disformation of the mat and causing it not to work or causing it not to read right. So we jump on the mat, rough side up on a solid base or ground. So, and not had any issues with it. I've had some kids drop the dumbbells on the wire. I may have had to splice the wire and stuff over years, but that's been only like 2 jump mats out of like 12 years. So it's not a terrible thing. They have lasted and they have taken a beating at the gym. The humidity and the environment at the gym when it rains here in Georgia, everything in the gym can get soaking wet. The bars are gross, rusty. The floors are sticky. It's just a mess. And through temperature changes and everything else, never had any issues with them. So, and this guy also says, since your book is out, will you be offering online training anytime soon? If so, I'm very interested. I have a pretty nice home gym with lots of Westside equipment and Nintendo. Yeah, perfect, Jason. I'm working on that, and I'll try to get that done as soon as I can. Now, when I first released the book, I was having trouble with the international shipping stuff. Jared, I can't ship, so I went in. I don't have to do PayPal. You can do, I think some items went out DHL. Some items will go on just international USPS postal shipping services or whatever. It's a different funny looking label. But so this guy from Belgium just tried to order your book. It doesn't seem to deliver to Belgium. How can I get it? Thanks, Ryan. Ryan, if you listen to this podcast and you still are having trouble with it, I don't know if I've talked to you since I think that I fixed the issue. I mean, we went to Australia, Northern Ireland, Canada, Scotland. It's not had any issues like that, even Germany. So, Ryan, please reach out to me again. Send me a fresh email so I don't see the replies, so to speak, email. And I'll try to get that fixed. If you cannot buy it through the shipping, I've got a different shipping way to do it. So you can just send me your address and I can get it done that way if you cannot do it. So the international shipping was a little different because I didn't have my online store basically set up for it. So now it should take money or credit cards from any other country. I mean, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, whatever. So Ryan, like I said, if you have any issues, still reach out and I'll try to fix it because I don't know unless these people message me. So thanks from Belgium. Okay. Hello, Jared. I've been listening to your podcast and want to say you've done a great job with it. Thank you. One question I have is a 6 meters per second for box squats is what you aim for? Yes. I do not have a Tendo unit and will not be able to purchase one because of the price. I'm an athlete, not a coach. Is there any chance you have a video of someone squatting 0.6 meters per second so I can at least have a visual reference point of the speed I'm aiming for, or a percentage that should produce that speed would be helpful? Well, I did a YouTube video the other day of what 0.6 meters and what 0.5 and what some of these meters per second actually look like for people that need a visual. But the music's loud and I need to try to figure out how to go over it again so that I can get more of this information out. I'm also going to put YouTube videos out on how we actually do the dumbbell jumps. I found something interesting with the 40-yard dash the other week that I'm going to do. I say all this stuff, but the people that help me at the gym or the kids, I get them to film me. The thing is they're in school during the day and I really have no friends here because all my friends are at the gym and they have school, so they don't really have a chance to help me. And when I'm there, it's so freaking busy most of the time that I can't stop what I'm doing to record a video. So I just did one the other day just because it was like last week. Last week was spring break here, so most of the kids are gone. Kind of like a stress relief week, kind of like, oh geez, I can kind of walk around and think what I need to do. And so I got one filmed, but I did not like it, so I'm not going to put it out there. But yes, I'm going to show dumbbell jump technique and kind of what I look for, kind of what's bad, so I can start doing that stuff now that the book's out. And so people, what 0.6 meters per second looks like, how we box squat, demonstrate how we're trying to be explosive with it. So yes, I'll put that out there. And I'm glad my content's helpful. I'm glad you like the podcast. Please share. If y'all like the podcast, please share with your friends, a buddy, or some other gym owner or anything. I don't make money doing podcasts, but I do like helping. I do like teaching. It helps me to help you. So it's kind of like a win-win. So here we go. All right. Thomas here again. I don't mean to beat the squat ratio thing to death, but I've done some experimenting since you answered my last question. See, I love this stuff. Thomas experimenting after I answer his questions to try to figure this stuff out. This stuff is not really written, especially this 0.6 meters per second. It's not really written in the book, so whatever. So let's see. Since I answered his last question on squat speeds, 40-yard dash times, and full squat versus box squat speed ratios, you mentioned that a Paul squat can be a good substitute for a 12-inch box with a 6-inch foam pad. That's what I did when I drove my vertical up to 37 inches at 233 pounds, I believe. That was a few years ago. That was mid-late 30s. You also talked about how it's easier to generate speed on a full squat. Yes, because I think you have a little bit more longer range of motion because you're down a little bit deeper than the box, but you can't move as much weight. So the 0.6 ratio is higher. You can move, yeah, you can't move as much weight. Sometimes my athletes at the gym will actually box squat more than they can regular squat. And so that's why it says that. but you cannot squat as much weight with the full ass to grass squat, but you can move, the weight that you move is faster. So like someone that moves 315 at a full squat may move it at 8 meters per second, but when you put a box above them, they may go down to 275 or maybe 0.5 meters per second. But the box squat max may be 445 versus a 405 regular squat. Just a little tricky. So it's not like huge differences, but there is enough difference there to make some of the numbers messed up to where it's a little bit harder to figure out. So, but you can't lose much weight. So the 0.6 ratio is higher, but how that relates to the vertical and 40 is unclear because of lack of data. And that you don't have as much data on the ratios with the full squat because the box squat is so effective. Yes, the box squat, and you gotta think, I deal with kids that sometimes don't get what they're at the gym for. All the people that bought the book, much appreciated because you care. And if you care enough to buy something that I put out, you care enough to email, I'm gonna eventually get back to you. I'm not the quickest guy in the world about answering these emails or getting back to people. But we have to box squat because it makes us run faster. And if I get a kid that gets scared that they're not going to be able to stand up after a pulse squat, they're not going to effectively and consistently pulse squat the right way. So there's no point in doing it. So that's why I don't really experiment with it. But Thomas, if you want to do it, give me all the feedback you can, and I'll try to direct you in the right path. So he ended up finding a way to box squat like we do at Explosive, and he measured his speeds at 0.6 meters. Then he pulse squatted and measured speeds. It's crazy because the ratios ended up being about the same. He's 5'11". That's about how tall I am. Like I said before, I box squat 1.9 times body weight at 6 meters per second, 1.89 times body weight at 6 meters per second full squat, but my pulse squat and box squat was about 1.68, okay? So weight, like I said, was kind of earlier, his regular squat was 1.89 and his pulse squat and his box squat was 1.68. So the 1.68 was different than his regular squat by almost 2.5, whatever. So it seems that I can use my pulse squat ratio to predict vertical and 40-yard dash times if I don't have access to box squatting. And if I want to be that 43 to 45 inch vertical in the 4-5 electric 40 range, I still have to do because the ratio needs to be about 1.8 to 1.85 times body weight. Do you think I'm on the right track with the thing? And we'll think about pulse squat based on your experimentation. Thomas, I do think you're on the right track. If you want to get down to that 4-5 electric and the 43 to 45 inch vertical, I think the 1.85 is going to be your number. If you're still not hitting your sprint times, like I tried to mention someone the other day, and I'll try to get more on the podcast with these questions on sprinting. I'm going to do speed lies or speed training lies or speed something. I'm going to do another podcast this week on speed training and what's kind of bothered me about it. I've had kids pay high dollar where their agents told them to go and come back with no results. And the speed training's got to quit. All these speed lies have got to quit. Thomas, I think your 1.85 times body weight, 0.6 meters per second is a good number. You should be hitting 43 to 45 inch vertical on that. Feel free. My number's on the website. You can send me a video of you squatting. Say, hey, Jared, this is Thomas. Thanks for getting back with me on this, and I'll answer some questions. So anyway, let's go with another one. Hi, Jared. I listen to all your podcasts, some even more than once. I would like some guidance regarding the brief maximal tension method. I ran it for my bench and managed to complete 8 sessions over 4 weeks, but come my 9th, I couldn't do my top set for 2 reps, even though I managed 2 sets of 3 in the previous session. I'm 5'11", 192, okay, good athletic build. You mentioned that you get your athletes to stick with benching until they are strong enough to rotate maximum efforts, i.e. 4 or 5 pounds. My question is, how do you manage to avoid a combination that takes place after 3 weeks training at 90% and above? I believe that one of your podcasts, you said you bench heavy for 2 sessions and step back 1. Is this where I went wrong? No, sometimes we bench heavy 3 days, 4 days, 6 days in a row, 6 workouts in a row, not 6 days in a row, and don't have any ill effects. The biggest thing that I try to harp on the kids at the gym with is your rest breaks and their timing of it, so that the rest breaks between the sets and reps, and That way I know the rest issue is not a factor. Sometimes if I get kids that rest 4 minutes and I switch them to that 1 minute makes a big difference in the sets and reps. You could be stalling because of your accessory work may not keep track of or pace of your main lift work. Like when I slack on my triceps, my shoulders tend to bother me a little bit more. My bench stalls a little quicker, and sometimes I get bored. I may just go in and bench and not even do any tricep work. Next workout or two, I suffer because I did not continue to drive or rotate my tricep strength up. And I'll try to put out some videos and stuff. With the accessory work, people don't push their accessories up high enough. Years ago, they did a study, and most people would stick to about 47% of what their max potential is. I had a girl that's been doing 45 hyper with 65 pounds. Her max was 105, so she was sub 60% on her 105. She did 110, so she was about 50-something% what she was using for her stuff, and that's why her 45 hyper was not helping us stuff, because she thought she had load, but she didn't have load because she never tested or maxed her 45 hyper out. So we maxed that out yesterday, and I was like, see, you got to train a little bit heavier. So train your triceps, do a tricep press down max. Try to do a strict tricep press down. Don't pull it down to your chest and swing it right back down. Pull it down to your chest, pause. It's almost like Paul's tricep press down. That could be an issue. So sometimes the one you said, I bench a heavy day to try to figure that out where they are. The second day is a little heavier or adjusted lower based off how they did the first day. The third day would be light. Then once that rest day after the third day, then it's a continued push for about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. And then we reassess. I may max them. And sometimes I don't have to max them because I can see based off, everybody writes their sets and reps back to me. So if I want you to do 5, 6, 5, you may get a 5, a 5, a 4, a 4, and a 3. And based off your pattern, I will know where you are or predicted about where you can be, so you don't have to necessarily max. Because I had a kid the other day said he didn't want to max. He didn't want to max. So he was guaranteed a 225 bench. I said, okay, well, let's just keep going. And so far, his numbers have been right on point. So I don't have any trainers help me. So I read and look in these folders all the time by myself. And I'm able to know where someone's at based off their number pattern that they write back. When someone writes numbers to me, is they're basically just writing a sentence, and I know where they are and how to get them from point A to point B quickly. So how do I avoid accommodation? I think it may just be the accessory work. Or we bench, we incline the same day we bench, but we don't push our incline. We may just do the movement. And so once people do stall on their bench and they're not moving it as good, I will have them first incline, try to drive the incline up like I would their bench, but then have them bench as an accessory like their incline. So hopefully that helps. I also completed 2 more reps, and I shouldn't. Okay, let's get back to this question. From traditional kanji, you rotate every session to avoid, but like what you mentioned, stick with the basics until athletes are, if you switch too often, you're not going to get the results you want. Because benching is a skill. So like if you got someone at Louis or Westside or whatever that's been benching for 12, 15 years, they know how to bench, and more benching is not what's holding them back. It's the accessory work more likely. So it could be your accessory work. If you listen to this podcast, hopefully you take some information, try it out, and get back with me, and we kind of piddle around that way and just try to because your question's not only helping you, it's helping others. So let's just keep that rolling. I also completed 2 more reps, more than I should in my last completed session. So I went against your recommendations and subtracting 1 to 2 reps a session, which is a mistake and wasn't intentional. That may have been the cause. Yeah, that could be it too. So I know you sent your workouts to me, and I forgot to print off the Excel spreadsheet so I can go over it deeper. So I'm going to go over your question, Dylan, again in another podcast to try to help you out a little bit more. And squat suggestions. If 4 or 5s is the weight you switch to with the bench, what weight should your athletes need to squat before rotating the squat? I know you talk about squat speed on Nintendo. So is it just till you reach the 1.9 to 2.1 times body weight at 0.6? No, sometimes we don't ever get to that high. The highest I think I've had someone squat was about 1.8, and he had a 45-inch vertical. may switch them from safety bar box squat to straight bar box squat. Then I may rotate the bars instead of necessarily the exercise. Are you able to keep free squat technique from box squatting for so while, or is there something relearning process required? I sometimes have my athletes do a bob squat, or sometimes a front squat as an accessory so that they do not lose that feel. Box squatting over time, if you just keep box squatting over and over and over and over without doing Bulgarian squats, without front squatting, without doing a bob squat, without doing some of that will make you tight, and you can actually lose range of motion, which could actually hinder your 40-yard dash as much as box squatting helps it. So single leg stuff like Bulgarian squats, split squats, walking lunges will strengthen your adductor and have a lot better leg carry over to your sprints. So yeah, we do free squat, but we don't push it. You're talking maybe like if someone squats 365 at 6 meters per second, they still only may do 135 or 185 on a bob squat, or something like 376 on a front squat at 155 to 185. We're not pushing it. We're just doing it so that we maintain mobility and we don't lose the feel of the regular squat. Because if some kids get away from it for so much time, they can lose the feel. But sometimes most of the kids I have may go to high school weight training, so they're taking care of that there. So it's something I don't have to worry about on some kids, but some kids I do. So let's see. I also started getting good dorsiflexion in my ankles. When I free squat, it's awkward. So now I box squat, but don't want to lose my okay free squatting. Okay, that's when I would try to get you into like bob squatting and showing you some more ankle stuff. Ankle mobility will limit your front squat, your back squat, and stuff can actually cause some issues. I've attached a spreadsheet for my training log. I really appreciate some guidance on what I did wrong. Dylan, like I said, I'll print out your spreadsheet. I forgot to print that out. When I printed out, I took all these emails and I just printed them on some in a Word document, and I printed them out so I could bring them and talk about them. And I was in a hurry because I'm kind of running behind today, but I wanted to get a podcast out because I need to start doing this. I need to start being a little bit more consistent with it. Had tax season books and all that stuff, just excuses. You know, I can just pop up here. This podcast has only been 27 minutes. I need to try to keep them to 30 minutes or less so that people know, Jared, your podcast is so damn long, I can't even get all the information. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Dylan, I'll spin that spreadsheet out and I'll talk about that this week. I would like to try to be more organized in my day and maybe do a daily podcast just to get some information out there. But sometimes with doing too many podcasts and trying to do too many like Instagram videos back, I think the stuff is important. So I think this podcast, I think these people's questions are important. And if I dump out a podcast every day or 3 times a week, I don't want to get drowned out this information because there's so many they don't know which one to choose. Or like if you just go to like a Joe Rogan podcast or something, he's already got so many out. You don't never go back to one and go all the way through. It's just too much because they're too long. So I may do just a short daily one because my 20-30 minutes is a lot better than my hour and a half or hour. And so it's a lot easier to catch up on, and I can just almost like a chapter tell you what I'm going to talk about next time, and we'll pick up from there. So thanks again for all of you that bought the book. It's probably just going to be a limited edition, annual thing. Maybe just this may be the only time thing. So once they're gone, and I don't expect to have maybe just around Masters Week each year. That's when I let them out this year. Love the Masters, love golf. So thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. Email me info@explosivemechanics.com if you have questions. I know I did get some Instagram messages that I need to go over later, so I'll get that done. Like I said, I got to be better with this. I do appreciate the support. I do appreciate all of you listening. So thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening. The podcast is now on Pandora for people that, if you're listening to it, you may not be listening to it on Pandora, but if you have friends that don't listen to Pandora or whatever, because I had some people at gym, I just have Pandora, so took about 7 months to get it on Pandora. Crazy, had to go through a process of make sure I was qualified enough to go on Pandora. All the other ones just kind of hit a button and it goes to it. So just another platform. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.